world of small performance hot hatches is evolving way faster than hot hatches can actually keep up. But in that regard, there are cars that have been able to keep up with the evolution for some time, and one of them is the Volkswagen Golf GTI. So I'm driving a 2015 Volkswagen Golf GTI, and this is the MK7 Golf GTI. That means that it is from the 7th generation of the Golf. And I'm going to be letting you know everything that you might need to know about this vehicle. Before we go on with our driving, let us start by speaking about the Golf GTI's styling or design. So it's naturally an aggressive looking car. I mean, look at it, and see, it's a car that means business. So you have this nice daytime running LED lights, and for GTIs, the MK7s, they actually get this nice red lipstick that runs from this side all the way to the other side. We have this nice honeycomb grill effect down here, and if you look at it from here down here, looks like Wolverine left his claw. And if you come to this other side as well, nika Wolverine alifanya mikono hivi akaacha claws zake hapo. So you have that red lipstick. Every time you see that, might be a genuine GTI. There are fake badges in the market, but this one is very genuine. So the story of the GTI goes down to a sweet Italian story about Gran Touring. So there was something called Gran Turismo Iniezione, and Gran Turismo Iniezione was about direct injection for Grand Tourers. And if you come to the side, looks like the normal Golf again. Not much to speak about. Nice red calipers just to add a cool effect. And if you come to the back, you have dual exhaust pipes on this other side as well. There is a nice honeycomb grill effect down there as well. And coming maybe to the back, you can open the boot using that one and have a look. This is perfect for maybe your 3 or 4 bags that utaenda nazo Naivasha. And having said that, can maybe close it and go all round again. Fantastic looking car. I mean, nothing to complain about. This is what a hot hatch is supposed to look like. This is where you're going to be spending most of your time after buying your Volkswagen Golf GTI. And at this cabin, as far as things go, I have nothing to complain about at all. The build quality is very decent, and maybe if you start from this side, you can see bits of aluminium trimming, of plastic effects to it, but they're not rough, and they're kind of forgiving. The seats on the other side are very comfortable and supportive. These are bucket styled seats, so they'll hold you in place every time you hit that speed and you're trying to attack bends. And these are the original GTI plaid seats. So GTI zikitoka factories zinakujanga na fabric seats like this one. So zinaitongwa plaid seats, and it's a term that has been around for some time. But oftentimes some other guys will always go for leather seats, which is also fine. But I always find this to be cool. And maybe coming to this area over here, the infotainment control area. If you look at it, we have shortcut buttons for all the functionalities that you're going to try to use when driving the car. So you have a radio for your morning shows, media, for your entertainment, phone, for your mobile phones connectivity, and maybe even Bluetooth as well. And then we have navigation, but this particular vehicle has been configured to show us our way around Japan, where it came from. Then we have traffic. So in countries like maybe Japan, the traffic information is always fed into the vehicle, so that unajua which roads to avoid and which ones to use. Then we have a car and the main menu. So instead of using all the other buttons, you can actually use it by touch. You can just use touch to operate it. So maybe you have all the other functionalities: radio, phone, media, voice. All of them have been fed into the system. And then it has dual zone climate controls. So the guy sitting on this other side, the driver's side, and the front passenger can both get different settings for their air conditioning. And then if you were to go from that and come here, the most important button in this vehicle for me has to be the mode button, which is located down here. So when you press it, it gives you the modes that will come in handy when you're driving. So maybe you have normal, and this is the mode that I will try to lie to people that this is a normal Golf, and there is nothing special about it. You're just someone who's coming from work and going back home, or maybe shopping, and you're not into aggressive driving. And then there is sport mode. This is the one that you want to use when you go to a track or when someone provokes you in a good way. So this one sharpens our throttle response, makes the steering wheel sharper as well, and makes the vehicle fun. I think the whole GTI concept is actually based on this particular mode. Then now we have Eco, the one with the trees. Bei ya mafuta imepanda. If you want to save as much as you possibly can always run the vehicle on Eco. Then the most special one of them all has to be this individual mode, because just like it has been named individual, it gives you a chance to go to settings. And if you go to settings, you actually get different aspects that you can play around with to your preferred levels. So maybe we have a steering wheel. So the steering wheel, you can choose if you want it to behave normally under this normal, or if you want it to behave in a sporty manner, you can pick the sport mode. Then we have the engine. Do you want it to behave in a sporty manner or a normal manner or eco, so that you can save as much as you can? You can always pick that from there. And then it also has one for the adaptive cruise control system. So this vehicle has an adaptive cruise control system which will steer to keep you in lane. It will keep you a safe distance from the vehicle that is in front, and it will also apply emergency braking when needed. So the adaptive cruise control also gets its modes. So we have normal and sport and eco. So when you try to give the vehicle some of the driving responsibilities, you can always choose how you want it to behave. Then you have maybe the front lighting as well, how you want it to look, maybe sport, normal, eco again. And then that is just as much as you get. For me, the individual mode is the most important mode in this vehicle, because if you're a driver and there is something that you don't find to be convincing, especially when you're using the modes that are inbuilt, you can always try to play around with them so that you can get your preferred settings. And I think that is the coolest thing in this particular vehicle. The cabin is generally practical as well. And if you come down here, you have cup holders as well. And maybe if we were to go to the steering wheel on the other side, one of the best in the game again. It has all the controls you're going to need, multifunctional, red stitching effect to it, just to add that GTI vibe into the thing, GTI labeling as well. And maybe if you were to try and can play around with it, tilt and telescopic functionality, so it can go in, out, up and down, again to your preferred setting as the driver. The goal is to make you as comfortable as you can possibly get, and it's a good place to be in generally. So with that said, let's check what the backseat has to offer. So here's the back seat. Not a bad place to be in. It can comfortably accommodate grown adults, mkienda mapiano and those other events. And again, plaid seats. They are very comfortable actually. And this one has you can see I've just removed this child seat isofix anchorage points there, this other side as well, and on this other side as well, so that if you're traveling with babies, they can be comfortable and safe in your trips. And then you have a cup holders here for your cups as you drive to your events or different locations. It will hold them in place so that can be comfortable. The price on this vehicle to begin with is 2.6 million shillings, and guys tend to ask, why is it that expensive? Why is it not why is the price not as favorable as the 1.4T or the 1.2T? And that is because those other vehicles actually get 1200cc and 1400cc engine options. They actually do about 122 horsepower, I mean between 110 and 122 horsepower, and they use 6-speed automatic transmission gearbox units. But the Golf GTI on the other side is track focused, it's sharp, and it's a wonderful thing to drive. And that is the major aspect that actually determines the price of this vehicle. If you're going to buy a Golf GTI, you're basically going to be buying a car that you can take to a track, throw around, give people beatings, and go back home like nothing happened. And if you want a performance car like a Golf GTI, there are obviously going to be other options that you can actually be looking at. If you go to Hyundai, there is the i30 and the i30N. there is the Ford Focus ST, and the list just keeps on going. BMW have the M135i, very well driven thing, wonderful to drive as well. But the Golf GTI has always been the one that has sat, I mean, you can almost say that it has sat at the top of the food chain for such a long time. It has been a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful story. And just to begin from way back, there was the Mark 1 and then Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4, Mark 5, Mark 6, Mark 7, and there is now the Mark 8. So it has been a journey that Volkswagen has been on for some time. They've made wonderful vehicles from that particular time, and all the way to coming to the Mark 7. It's a brilliant vehicle on all fronts. So the GTI for me is my favorite hot hatch, and I'm going to be telling you why. The first reason actually goes down to the size. There are hot hatches that don't look like hot hatches. I mean, you look at them and they sort of look ridiculous. They are big, they are massive, and they don't look like hatches at all. But the Golf GTI for me actually tends to get it right. The size is just about perfect. It's a vehicle you can play around with. It's a vehicle that ukiingia nato utakosa mahali pa kupark, and that for me is actually a big deal, because I'm going to give you an example with the BMW. They always tend to say that the M135i is a hot hatch, and it is. But if you look at the size, it's almost about the size of a station wagon. So there is that particular aspect. And then coming back to the GTI again, we're going to start with the engine. So the engine you have here is a 2000cc turbocharged engine. It's called the EA888. It has been around for some time. And this particular engine makes 220 horsepower. You get 350 Newton meters of torque. And that means that every time you put your foot down, this car tries to fly. Like I'm going to do right now. The road is clear, so let's go. Yeah, it's such a joy to drive, and that is the entire thing that a hot hatch is supposed to be doing. It doesn't have to be slow, and this is not slow, it's fast. And the gearbox we have here is a 6-speed dual clutch transmission. It's called direct shift gearbox. You can call it DSG, and it's one of the cleverest gearbox units that the world has ever seen. It's basically like I'm going to explain it in simple terms. So it has 2 clutches. One engages the odd numbered gears, so 1, 3, 5. Then there is the other one that engages the even numbered gears, so 2, 4, and 6. So every time you put your foot down, maybe you're on gear 1, the other one has already engaged gear 2, 3, and the one goes to 4, so that the shifts can be as quickly as it can possibly get. And in return, it means that the vehicle is always eager to go. I'm going to do that again, and there you go. Yeah, wonderful thing to drive. That is the entire thing that you want to be doing in a hot hatch. You just want to go every time. I mean, responsibly, but it's a thrilling thing to drive. There is no word to explain what this engine wants to do. If you're going to spend 2.6 million shillings on a car, it has to be a car that is exciting to drive. Is the GTI exciting to drive? Yes, it is. The gearbox is clever. The engine is fantastic. The size is perfect for urban driving. I mean, you want a car that you can get a parking space bila kuhustle. Unajua kuna gari zingine unaanga nazo mtu trao, unashangaa huyu jamaa sasa huwa anapaki kitu wapi. But the GTI is not one of those vehicles. And then there is the other aspect where these are practical as well. I can hop into the back seat, fit in comfortably, drive the vehicle without straining. I mean, it is the perfect recipe for a hot hatch. If you want a hot hatch that is exciting to drive, one that is practical, one that was meant to be a hot hatch from the beginning, the VW Golf GTI is the real deal. So what would be my final verdict on the VW Golf GTI? I mean, if you're looking to buy a hot hatch that was meant to be one from the beginning, one that is going to get the right emotions from your heart and deep inside, I mean, this is the perfect recipe for a hot hatch. The engine is perfectly decent. If you were to go to the higher spec version of the Golf, which is the Golf R, for the Mark 7, you'd get the same engine, but of course the power tuning is always different. But if you were to play around with this vehicle, consider the tuning potential, you're going to end up with a road going weapon. Every time you put your foot down, this thing is like a cheat code. There is no single moment when it feels irritating, or the vehicles that you sort of drive for some time and unasikia umechoka nayo. What else could someone be looking for in a hot hatch?